When we say overeat or overdrink or oversmoke or whatever it is, what happens is our indulgence in it happens so fast. This permission, there's a permission that's granted, and it's like, it's okay. It doesn't have words. It's an immediate emotional rationale of permission that allows us to indulge again. And we do, and in fourth way terms, what happens is the emotional parts of sinners sort of take over. And it's so fast and it's so emotionally fluid. We almost cannot stop it. Once it starts, particularly, it starts, it's so fast, and then it's off and running, and now it has us in its grip. And then what happens is later, an hour later, or later in the evening, or even at night, you might wake up in the night, and there will be an insight, a realization from another group of eyes. Why did I do that? Why did I do that again? I know it's not good for me. I feel terrible, either physically or emotionally or both. And there's conscience. And this is, as MIHAI said, related to consciousness. And now the intellectual parts of sinners are there, and they're recognizing, they're seeing after the fact, though. It's now after. During has already happened, and now it's after. And this is when we realize, and when we have pangs of conscience. And then there's another phase, which is before. So there's a before, during, and after. The before phase is, and that's where this delay of gratification, just wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is. This again is a point where the intellectual parts of sinners can be there. And don't go in, don't open that door. Don't open your mouth. Don't reach for whatever that is. There can be, and that's where there's a tension, there's an effort not to do something. But once this permission thing happens and once we're in, it's too late. And so what happens though, we then feel that we ought to be able to work on this so-called problem in the middle phase while it's happening. And actually that's not possible. It's not practical. Where we can work on it is in the after and the before. And then what happens is the after, the realization, the conscience becomes deeper and stronger, and it sort of spreads itself out all over our being, more and more and more. And then that enables the before, the eyes and intellectual parts of sinners that are able to say, wait 5 minutes, wait 10 minutes. And then what happens is the before and the after start to squeeze out the middle, the during, the actual
acting out.
Indulgence. Sorry?
The acting out, they call it.
The acting out. So, and this is how it gets resolved, you might say. The before becomes longer. You can then delay for 10 minutes. You can then delay for 15 minutes. You can then delay for 20 minutes. And the longer the delay is, the less room there is and the less conviction and persuasion that permission has, which wants to open the door and let the indulgence happen. Let it begin. Let the show begin. And so the before, the delay, and the after, the realization, the conscience, that's where the work is done, so to speak. But we kind of pass those over and think, no, I ought to be able to work on this while it's happening. And I can't, and I'm bad, or I'm weak, or whatever those are. So one suggestion is try to look at it like this. There's a before, a during, and an after. And think about how you can strengthen the before. Think about how you can, when the after happens, when you have the realization in the middle of the night or the next day, really let that sweep over you, not with guilt. Conscience can quickly become guilt. And true conscience is not guilt. True conscience is realization of seeing the truth about ourselves. And let it settle. But it goes right up against, it contradicts our wish to feel guilty. So it is uncomfortable to see what happened and acknowledge it fully and let it really sink in as truth, not as guilt, not as punishment, not as self-ridicule, but as truth. This is what I did. This is what Peter did again, kind of thing. And when it's happening, so that's one suggestion. And then the before, if you can extend the delay of the gratification without being too excessive, without being too extreme, because you'll defeat yourself in that regard. And then when it's happening, to really honestly just watch it. Go ahead, stuff your face, drink some more, smoke some more, whatever it is, and but be honest, be clear, and just watch it happening. And know that you may not be able to stop it in midstream. And the reason I said earlier this relates to something else is this is exactly the same principles apply when it comes to the work on negative emotions. Once a negative emotion has started to build, accumulate it, gather itself, let's say, once it gets out, it starts to come out of our mouth, which is the indulgence, you might say, the expression. Once it's out and we're letting somebody have it, or we're, doing something even internally to ourselves really negative, once that's happening, it's very hard to stop. But after we can realize what happened, and we can kind of make a plan, how we might think about it differently or see it differently. And then before is what non-expression of negative emotions is. That's all it is. It's the delay. It's putting a brake on the expression and saying, no, I'll wait 5 minutes before I tell that person what I think about them because I'm irritated by them. Or I'll wait 10 minutes. And the longer the delay, the less that urge is, the less that permission gathers to go ahead and then do it, to express the negativity or to indulge in the compulsion. So that's what I was thinking, just there's a before, a during, and after. And if you can think about it like this and realize what we're trying to do is we want the before to get longer gradually. And we want the after to also get longer and be deeper. We want more realization of truth about what's going on, about all these different eyes in us and how they control us. And to let that really seep in. So the before and the after start to squeeze out the during, the middle part. It will no longer have any oxygen. It won't be any fun anymore, kind of for that part. And so we deny it indirectly and we defeat it indirectly. MIHAI often uses the term starving it. And this is starving it. This is not fighting it or punishing it or hating it or feeling sad or angry about it. It's just seeing it.